Welcome to Lisbon, Portugal. In this video series, I am working on digitizing the city of Lisbon into city skylines too. So let's get into the episode. Let's go over everything that we've done so far in the video series. This is Lisbon, Portugal. And in the first video, we worked on this whole area from the cargo ship hub all the way over to the mass transit hub on the west side of the city. On the second video, we worked on everything from the cargo hub and mass transit hub all the way over to the east side of the city into Cabo Ruivo. Now, in today's video, we are going to be working on the whole area of Cabo Ruivo over into the Vasco da Gama Bridge. Let's get into it. Let's go over the objectives for today's video. First, we're going to be preparing the landscape for this area of Cabo Ruivo, and then we are going to be working on placing the roadways and railways for this area. Then we are going to be also placing the Vasco da Gama Bridge. And then after that, we are going to be working on placing those train stations, and that's going to be the video. So let's get into it. Here's the land that we'll be working on in today's video. For your consideration, I skipped the road outline time-lapse for the video. We will be removing and replacing the roads anyway, so there isn't much sense in showing you the time-lapse of me placing them. As an artist, I have come to understand putting time into any small part of your artwork up front is meaningless. When you focus on any small section, you will be ignoring the greater subject of the piece. In this case, the city. I am working with very little space in today's episode. I needed to place the Vasco da Gama Bridge at the edge of the map, as well as the highways that will service the bridge. The city wouldn't be complete without it. Giving myself a rough outline made it possible to include these parts in the build. The rough outline has done its job. What better a place to start off the video other than the major interchange that services the bridge and this entire area. If you are following along with my progress on Google Maps, then you would notice that this area is built differently than the rest of the city. This area comprises of a few different attractions. There's an aquarium, arena, large train station with a subway and multiple bus terminals, a casino, a shopping center, event pavilions, among many other smaller attractions. All of this was placed in this area to show off Portugal's technology, ecology, and ability to hold massive shows. All of this was built for the World Technology Expo in 1998. The event pavilions, as well as the arena, hold many different events that still bring a lot of money into Lisbon. I thought this part of the city was very unique and important to include in the build. The airport, Lisboa International Airport, is north of this part of the map. With all of these high traffic areas, the highway interchange needed to be massive to accommodate all the traffic that will be passing through this area, as well as servicing the Vasco da Gama Bridge. And being the edge of the map, we will also have a lot more traffic pouring in through this area. Which brings me to my next topic to discuss in this episode. Following this video, I'll be starting the process of creating smaller videos that I will publish between major time-lapse videos. These videos will support the channel by acting as educational pieces for people who want to learn more about how I am building the city, as well as how they can do it too. City Skylines 2 is a very complicated video game with a lot of bad press. It desperately needs more attention from people who love its predecessor, City Skylines, with the complexities that Colossal Order implemented in the game
there are a lot of people who are struggling. There are also people who want to create cities just like the one that I am building in this series. High detailed cities that look like either their hometown or a place that they imagine up. Whatever the project, having a different point of view is crucial in the development of your complex city. Cities are anything but simple, and so many people want to have a large working city that also looks like it could be from real life. I know that the game discouraged me when I knew nothing about the game back when I first got into City Skylines. I remember the first time I opened the game. I tried following the tutorial, but I got stuck early on and had a failing city right off the bat. I closed the game and took more than a few months to come back to it, starting up a new map and failing again. It took many tries for me to build a sustainable city that didn't get backed up with traffic or another problem like sewage getting into the citizens' drinking water. Take it from me, I know how difficult this game is and how daunting the task is of building a working city. I am here to help and support you and your journey into building a beautiful city, just like any other top creator that inspires you with their builds. I know for me, I am a member of several Facebook groups where people show off their builds and their problems. So many people have amazing cities. Others have flat wastelands that have little resemblance to a real city, like the moon has to the earth in biodiversity. Don't get me wrong. In real life, cities don't have a cookie cutter format that will work. Look at American cities, for instance. American cities lack reliable public transportation networks, but they do excel in having plenty of high volume highways and massive interchanges. Placing one of these interchanges somewhere in Europe isn't going to work. Many European cities have many options for pedestrians to safely travel. They don't rely as much on having a car to get where they need to go, since nearly everything is in walking distance to their home. And if they needed to get somewhere far away, they have the public transportation network to support their travel. Cities are not easy to build. With a sense of balance for public transportation networks, road infrastructure, pedestrian accessibility, or even something as simple as having enough parks instead of parking lots. I'm incredibly inspired by European design when it comes to any of my builds in the game. They work really well. Another area in the world that inspires me is the greater Tokyo area. I don't have any goals of recreating the city of Tokyo in City Skylines 2, but it would be cool. Tokyo is just far too complicated for me at this point in my life with my level of skill. I personally live in a very small city with a farmland, and I don't have a large elevated highway or interchange that goes through my city. So for me, it isn't easy to build massive projects. One of my goals for this project, however, is to write a novel alongside the creation of this metropolis. The novel would be relevant to the city, as well as getting a sense of the story and connection to the city's history. It will be set in a time period back before the city of Lisbon was established, and it will bring excitement to the video series. Following along the journey of a young man who wants to escape the tyrannical government of the land that he and his family resides. His goal is to leave the city and lead his friends and their families to safety, to a city unlike the one that they currently reside. On their dangerous expedition to their new life, they run into a few problems along their journey. Eventually, they come upon a land with a beautiful coastline, treacherous landscape to keep them safe from invaders, and a small community that resides there. They eventually work to find a middle ground and believe that they can help each other prosper and grow together. They eventually form the nation of Portugal and the city of Lisbon. This novel will serve as a time-lapse dialogue to keep you, the viewer, engaged in the city that I am building, with some ground roots to plant yourself into the city it is today. This story will not be based off real-life events, and it will be entirely written by me. It isn't in a stage that is currently ready to be spoken yet, but I plan on finishing the first few pages of the story soon. That way, we can get into the journey of these brave people to build a new life for themselves. This project is the most complicated project that I have taken on. And I don't just mean the story that will live alongside the video series. The city of Lisbon is large and complex, with both its transportation infrastructure and its landscape. Buildings in the city are often built upon one another, not to mention recreating the style of the city and its cultural influence to the architecture. This game was not created to let creators build cities that look like Portugal. So there will be many instances where I will have to improvise and make difficult decisions to keep both the functionality and design of the city. At the end of the day, I want this city to work like a scale replica of the real thing. Some things will break and will need to be fixed when they happen, but that will be the fun part of city planning in the game. I will be doing everything I can to make my city as similar as possible to the real city. In the next episode in this series, I will be starting to place all of the buildings for the area. I'll be starting to place buildings in the same order I followed for the videos up until this point. Placing buildings and props in the current city will bring life into it, making it feel more complete and full rather than an incomplete project of streets darted across the riverbank. I do have a goal for this series. That goal is to put little things into the city that make it fun to explore the city streets and see what's down an alley, or maybe in a tree. I will be working to add small spaces that bring realism to the city and make it feel lived in. With all of this in mind, I'm sure you could assume that this video series will go on for a long time, but I don't plan on making this the only city I build on this channel. I plan on building cities based off the UK, Netherlands, Italy, America, and parts of Asia, as well as some imagination builds where they will be organic and flexible. They will encompass my own style and ideas. Those builds will be extremely fun for me. As you may already know, I created this map, and I will also work on creating many other maps inspired by different areas in the world that I will be working on recreating in the game. If you would like to use this map, the link is in the description of the video. My goals sound great, but will I actually stay committed to the goal? I will do everything in my power to stick to this goal and create videos for as long as I can based on the City Skylines 2 infrastructure, as well as any future adaptations to the game. I really feel passionate about this game, and I hope to inspire you, like other creators have inspired me. I am new to creating content for YouTube. From the start, I haven't been that great at it. I hope you will see that my video editing skills may have improved over the past 4 videos that I've published to the channel, including this video, as well as some of the design features to the video series. The time-lapse border, webcam border, and the flag for the city have all been revamped since the last video. I will continue to make small changes throughout the life of the channel to improve the look of the content as well as the dialogue and story behind every episode. I think this part of the map came out great, and I am very excited to see what it will look like once it's all filled in with buildings and props. In previous episodes, I've mentioned that this project has started off by making my process of documenting the work that I've done, that I'm putting in, very difficult. I have lost numerous saves, and during the recording of this video, I ended up dealing with a crash or two. So, if you are planning on building a city in this game, you should most certainly turn on autosaves. The game does not automatically have autosaves enabled. I'm also creating saves with every time I take a break. I am not overwriting any of my older saves. I have found that taking these precautions have made my job a lot easier when picking up from the last available save of my progress that I have made. Plus, every single time the game crashes, there's a chance that all of your settings in the game will be reverted back to default. So make sure to check on those when your game crashes. In the beginning of this journey, I was also publishing live streams of me working on the game to Twitch. I have since stopped publishing to Twitch for this game project. I also scrapped all the work that I put into the game during those live streams. The footage of me doing all the work was very difficult to edit in a timely manner and publish to YouTube without it looking weird. As a result, I have detail built the first video section of this map 4 times. I can safely assume that this final version of the city will be my last redo, since it is actually working out and not getting erased. It's very easy for me to give up early and not continue with the project, since I don't have a fan base yet, and since I only just started the creation of Lisbon. However, I believe that no matter how many times you have to get back up and try again, that you will learn something crucial every time you do it. I can tell you from experience that I am extremely happy that I have enough resilience to continue the project after so many painful ends. This game is much more than a game to me. It is a simulation of economics, transportation logistics, and environmental impact studies. I also look at the game like it's my very own model train set with scale model buildings and cars to go with it. I have always loved creating extremely difficult things. I find it to be even more fun and rewarding when I can design something that works properly. Not only is it a goal of mine to finish Lisbon and make it look really cool, but it's also a goal of mine to see it work similarly to the real city of Lisbon. I hope I can inspire at least one person to reach as high as they can to achieve something much greater than what I am working towards.
Okay, now that all the roadways and railways are in, now we have to get into putting in the stations and the water treatment plant. So, let's get into that now.
Here we are at the final stretch of the video. I worked really hard to make sure that I condensed this video to a much more manageable video to watch. Not too long, but something that also has enough substance to be entertaining and informative. I find it a challenge to come up with different ideas, different things to talk about during the time-lapse portion of the video. I do say that I think I accomplished making this video easier to watch. This is only the beginning to my long journey of creating meaningful content for YouTube and the City Skylines community. I would love to be able to bring attention to governments with the progress that we as a community are making on this game. No, real world city simulator. Maybe we can go forward in our own local governments and suggest different actions that we think our city mayors should make to improve our quality of life, and even the walkability, bus infrastructure, or even the silly mistakes they make by putting a roundabout where they will only increase the traffic flow and cause more traffic jams, like we experience in the game. We, as a community, understand a mistake when we see it implemented in the real world, because we can simulate those same mistakes and work to correct them with our in-game hours. I once saw a TED speech where a woman talked about how video games can be the answer to our society's issues. In the video games, people have lived and experienced billions of hours worth of living, and that if we can make those hours meaningful hours to our society, that we will actually start solving some of the issues that we as a society face every day without even thinking about it. I think that woman was talking about video games like City Skylines. Her name is Jane McGonigal. You can look up her TED speech on YouTube. It's titled, "Gaming Can Make a Better World." You really need to see it. If you haven't, I will link the video in the description of this video. Anyway, thank you for watching, and this is the end of the time lapse for today's episode.
And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe and like this video. And if you have any comments, please share your comments below. I can't wait to see you in the next video, and I hope you have a great day.